I wanted to, right here.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
Hey, I wanted to ask, so many artists come on this stage and their first time in the Grand Ole Opry is just this chilly moment. Reba often talks about her first time and you were on. Can you talk about your first time that you stepped in the circle and you're on the Grand Ole Opry?
Well, a lot of people think this is my 50th year at the Grand Ole Opry. It's actually been 60, because first time I got to sing on the Opry, I was 13 years old. And actually, Johnny Cash introduced me, I believe, and Jimmy C. Newman had given me his spot. My Uncle Bill Owens and I used to drive from East Tennessee all the time. We'd get a loaf of bread and pack up some canned stuff, you know, pork and beans and potted meat and Viennas, you call it Vienna. Anyway, we'd come down to Nashville back and forth in an old beat-up car, sleep in the back seat, go to the Grand Ole Opry, wait backstage, looking at all the greats. And now, that was always my dream, and it was, my daddy loved the Grand Ole Opry, so we had to listen to it back home. And me dreaming of being on it, and then I just remember that being special. But then the night that I actually became a member, after I was working with the Porter Wagoner show, and got to actually be a member 50 years ago this year, it was one of the highlights of my whole life, because it was a true dream of mine. And I just wish Mom and Daddy could be here tonight, but I think they are.
Hi, Dolly.
Hi
First
there.
of all, congratulations on this milestone, I want to say. How does it feel to celebrate this and be here tonight?
Well, it feels great. I mean, this is like so exciting, and so many people have stepped up to be on the show and to help me celebrate. It's been a long day. I've talked till I'm hoarse. I hope I got a voice to sing tonight, because there's so much politicking that goes along with it. But actually, I've enjoyed just seeing so many friends of mine and just reminiscing. In fact, one of the special things I'm doing tonight is Buck Trent, one of the original wagon masters that played the guitar, the electric banjo with Porter, had all those famous licks on most of Porter's records and our duets. And I asked him to come and play tonight with me. I'm going to have him on as a special guest. And of course your paper won't go out till after it's done, so that's fine. But anyhow, I'm going to have him play, and I'm going to sing a song of Porter's. But just having people like Buck and just all these friends coming, stepping forward to just share this night with me, just makes it even more special to me. But it's kind of a dreamlike thing. You never know what's going to happen to you in your life. You never know if your dreams are going to come true. And if they do, you wonder how people will remember you when you're older. And I'm older, and I'm seeing how people are remembering me, and that makes me feel very humble. And I'm just very honored that I'm still around, not only to just get to accept this, that I can actually perform and get out there and still doing what I love to do. And maybe I'll be around another 50 years, who knows, if I'm lucky.
Hi, Dolly. Can you just speak about some of your favorite memories, Opry performances over the years?
Well, all of my memories are special. I know that you're supposed, as a member, you're supposed to do a certain amount of shows every year. And sometimes after I started getting more famous, I wasn't able to come to do my shows like twice a month. It's required. And I kept saying to them, you don't have to keep me on as a member if you don't want to, because I'm not living up to my contract. I want to get there. I want to do it. But they said, no, you're out there talking about us every day. You're talking about how proud you are of the Opry, so you're as much a memory, for the Opry, as big a part of that as anybody ever was. So I appreciate that, but I just have so many memories, as I mentioned, even as a child, young person, watching the people backstage and just seeing, and just standing out there on that stage where all the great people stood, just thinking maybe someday I could be part of them. And now that I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to see that dream come true, I wonder if some little kid might say, I bet Dolly Parton once stood here, or I'm standing where Dolly Parton stood, when I used to think, I'm standing where Kitty Wells stood. So that's what makes you thankful, that's what makes you grateful and humbled by the fact that, everybody's dreams don't come true, and I have been so fortunate to see so many of my dreams come true, and I don't take any of it for granted. As I often say, I count my blessings a lot more than I count my money.
Hey, Dolly, over here.
Hi.
Hi. Since you started with the Opry, there's been so many comedians that have come through the Opry. And you got that comic wit too. Tell me a little bit about that comic experience when you come to the Opry. Why is comedy such a cornerstone of the Opry experience?
Well, I think comedy's always been absolutely great, and of course, everybody's always got their fun stuff. Even when I worked for the Porter Wagoner show, Speck Rhodes, who was the comedian in our show, which we loved. But Minnie Pearl was a dear friend of mine, and she was a very classy lady, I guess. Some of you might not know, but she's very intelligent, very educated, and but she just put on that whole garb with her little hat just so she could do that corn country comedy that people love, because this is about country people back home working on farms and, milking their cows and doing whatever, and they love, laughing. They love to have something to listen to laugh about, and the type of humor that they understand. But I think most country people, and certainly entertainers like myself, I think comedy is part of our being, because it's kind of what helps you through the hard times growing up. We made more fun of stuff that you shouldn't even laugh at, but that was the funniest stuff to us, because we try to find the humor in it, even though it was about somebody was sick or whatever. You'd find something silly to say about it. But I just think that's important for people to laugh. And I grew up in a family where my dad's people were absolutely hysterical. My mom's people too. So I get that from them. We're just naturally funny, we think.
Hi, Dolly. You have so many hits. I'm over here.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, can you talk to me about the process of deciding what you were going to sing tonight?
Well, now that was a hard one, because I only got 30 minutes. I mean, I've been on the Opry for 50 years and I get 30 minutes. But actually it's not their fault, because the Grand Ole Opry is it's a legend, and we have many legends that come on the Opry, but it's been running the same way since 1925, I think, when it started, and the show must go on. So there's a certain amount of artists that have to go on, as they do a couple shows a night, an early show and then a later show, and I'll be on twice tonight. My last show is at 11 o'clock. Haven't done that since I was in Vegas, but years ago. But it's just really, it's just really, I forgot what you asked me. Well, see, I told you, it's been here 50 years. The songs, but yeah, because it's like really hard to know what to do, because some of the other artists that are on are going to do some of my songs, I think. But I'm going to do the classics that I have to, since I only have the 30 minutes. And so I'll talk. I'm sure they'll take me off the air. I'll be talking still. But I'm going to do the classics like Jolene, Coat of Many Colors I have to do. I'll do Here You Come Again. I'm going to open with an old song that I sang years ago, one of the first ones I wrote, one of my biggest records, called Joshua. People haven't heard that in a long time. And so I'm going to do Carroll County Accident with Buck Trent, Porter's song. Talk about him. I've invited Porter's 2 daughters here. He lost his son a few months ago. And so I've invited the girls to come be part of that tonight. So I'm just going to do the ones that people would kill me if I didn't say.
Hi, Dolly.
Hi.
You mentioned Porter a couple of times. I remember being here the night that Porter celebrated his 50th, and you were a big part of that night, 12 and a half years ago. What's it like to have the tables turned and now everybody's singing to and for and about you?
Well, it's amazing, because when they said, it's your 50th anniversary, you have to do a special or something, I said, I don't even want people to think I'm 50 years old. I said, well, I am. They said, no, you have to do it, but I'm joking, of course. But it's really a humbling experience, and it was wonderful that night with Porter, and knowing that Porter was such a big part of country music, because it was because of Porter and his #1 syndicated country show at that time that I got my big break, because Norma Jean, the girl singer that was with his show, had decided to leave the show, and he asked me if I would be part of it. So that was the best streak of luck ever. And Porter and I went at it all the time. We were like brother and sister. But, we were very prosperous together and very productive. And we sang great together. Our voices blended. And so I think of him every day. Every time I'm on stage, something will remind me of something I learned from Porter, something that, that he said, or a song. So I'm doing in addition to the show tonight, just so you know, I'm doing a 2-hour special on NBC at the end of November. This is going to be aired, and they'll show my portion of this, but I'm going to do a lot of things from the Ryman Auditorium, the old Ryman. I thought that's where I became a member, and I love the old Ryman, so I'm going to be doing a lot of acoustic things of my own over there, telling a lot of stories that you've been asking about, memories that I have of, you know, some of the old ones and the new ones. So we're going to try to make it really special in addition to just getting up and singing a bunch of songs. Some history.
Hello, Dolly, how are you?
Well, I'm good.
Good. This is obviously an amazing celebration of your career thus far. I just wanted to ask, what's next? You're not a person that's going to sit around.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have much time to sit around. I'll tell you, this has been a really busy week. I have several things going on, as you know. I've been doing some movies for Netflix based on songs I've written. I've done 8 shows that are going to drop in November, and they're based on songs like Jolene and Two Doors Down, several songs. And then hopefully, and I just did a musical, Christmas musical that'll be on next Christmas. I wrote all the songs for that. And all the dancing and all, I felt like a Broadway star. But I'm actually playing a big part in that. I'm acting in that as well. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to probably, hopefully, try to take off a little bit of time right after the first of the year before Dollywood opens up again. And then I'll be busy again. So I'm going to continue with what I do. And I've dreamed myself into a corner, as I say. So just getting out here and trying to, you know, be here to say, hey, these dreams come true, so you got to continue to support them. So anyway, I'll hopefully be around for a while.
Final question.
I'm so excited you're going to do Carroll County Accident. I
Oh,
don't think
don't
you've
you love
ever
that song?
like staged that, have you?
Well, that's one of my favorites that Porter ever did, and that's why I decided to do that one.
Well, I feel like with you, no matter what else you do, the music always comes first, and same for me. So musically, like we got to have a new record soon.
Well, actually, I've been very blessed. I don't know if some of you have been here. I'm going to be also co-hosting the CMAs with Carrie Underwood and Reba in November. And I'm going to have a segment on that where I'm doing a faith-based medley, using the choir, of course. And I have a song out now with a Christian group out of Australia. They're called For King and Country, and the song is called God Only Knows. And then I've got a new single coming out with right after the first of the year with Zach Williams, who's one of the new Christian artists. It's called There Was Jesus. And then I have another song that's going to drop right away, right a few days before the CMAs. It's called Faith. It's that famous, it's a great old song that have a little faith in me. Well, anyway, I'm doing that one, and that's going to end that little medley. So I have, I have that out with a group called Galantis, which I'm singing with a guy on it, and named Mr. Probs. And I guess he's a big artist that streams millions.
Billions.
Oh, billions, okay. Anyway, he's the star of the show. That's Danny Nozell, my manager. Anyway, so yeah, he knows all about he keeps up with the information. But anyway, so we've just got those coming out, and I'm hoping, at this point in my life, this world is just so dark and ugly and awful. I just can't believe how we just can't have a little more light, a little more love. So I'm going to make it my business to try to do songs that are more uplifting, not just all Christian-based songs, but songs that are just about just better things, do better, and just have a little more love, a little more light, and just don't be so dark and dirty.
Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you. I got to go get ready because they're going to be on the radio soon, and I got to be there.